Hey everybody.
Hey y'all.
We just watched the 4th episode of Amazon's The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power.
We did.
And let's just start on the notes. Carson doesn't have too many this time because, you know, it's one episode.
Really nothing happened.
I mean, not a whole lot, but yeah, I mean, off the bat, I've liked the 3rd episode the most.
Yes.
The 4th episode had more stuff happening, I suppose, but at the same time, not a whole lot happened.
Still, the only people of color in this show are black people. No Asians to be seen. No Hispanic. No Native American. No Arabic. No other colors of the rainbow or any sort. I just want to point out the hollow politics of Amazon. So, in this episode, we do see a little dream sequence of the sinking of Numenor, which is pretty cool.
It looked cool.
It is an actual book-accurate event, and you know, it was all right looking. It was a dream sequence, it was fake out. There has yet to be a bad woman in this show. Every woman tends to be presented as absurdly right about everything, and every man is either subservient or ignorant. Galadriel in this episode proves to be a horrible, arrogant, and vindictive woman. Like, terribly. Like, if she was a male character, people would be saying that she exuded traits of toxic masculinity. Galadriel is just overly confrontational with everyone.
Yeah, there's not been a single person that she's had like a true good conversation with without trying to like combat them about one small thing that they may have said or their viewpoint that they're trying to portray, or maybe they're saying, "Hey Galadriel, maybe try this." They're not calling her an idiot woman. They're just saying, "Hey, have you tried this?" Or it's Elrond. Or it's Neil Patrick Elrond talking to her, and we're supposed to feel like Galadriel and Elrond are friends, but they literally show no friendship. Maybe the actor who plays Neil Patrick Elrond, because he's like looking at her like longingly like a buddy would, but she is consistently just an awful grimace to him.
Isildur is an incompetent fool. How typical for a man on this show.
I agree with that. All men do wrong in this show. Not a single woman has done wrong. But we talked about this when the episode was going on. I hate that he and all of his friends apparently got kicked off the swim team.
Oh, it was bad riding.
Because he let go of a rope because he made a mistake. Good Lord, if that's the way Numenor treats like they're like apprentices, like, you know, in sailing, well, good Lord, I wouldn't be a sailor too long, because, you know, everybody makes a mistake. That's what it sort of thought. I thought that was dumb.
The orcs have this weird solemn funeral, and look, you know, I'm all for adding culture to the different races in a fantasy world and everything, but these are Tolkien orcs, and Tolkien orcs are evil and cutthroat. There's no redeeming qualities about them, and it's supposed to be that way on purpose. Having them have this weird, almost solemn funeral with you know, them having a merciful quick death because someone's bleeding out and everything. Orcs wouldn't do that. The idea that orcs would do that in Tolkien's world is ridiculous. They are unabashedly evil, and the charm of Tolkien's world is that good and evil is a binary. There are not shades of gray.
I like when there's good and bad, and that's just what it is. They did the same thing with Star Wars, except opposite. They went backwards. In Star Wars, it was gray, and that was the cool thing. And then the Disney Star Wars, they made them bad guys, the Empire bad guys. And that's poopy dookie, because in Star Wars it makes sense that there are gray areas. But in Tolkien's world, it is good versus evil, and it should be good versus evil. What you doing there, Carson?
I'm looking at myself in the camera. It's interesting. Watching myself move.
Don't worry, Carson. You look sexy, I promise.
We see a bow in this show. It's a minor detail. really only noticeable if you know things about bows. You see a short bow in this, it's a bad looking bow. It's overly drawn. You'd have little to no draw distance on it. It would have next to no power to shoot an arrow. It was a bad looking bow.
Carson, being the weapon connoisseur, he noticed it. I did not. He ran it back and showed me. And yes, it was shaped like a U.
It was a very minor detail.
It had like a 1 pound pull.
Yeah. The ugly child is back.
In full force.
Perhaps that might be a harsh statement, but they really gave this child a terrible haircut. Makes him look doofy.
The boss orc attacks him with what could be described as a short sword.
Yeah.
It's like that long, and it's curved, and he attacks him, and for some reason, plot reason, that kid did not die in that room. And then that sword just appeared in his hand, which I suppose might be the point.
Pulled it out of his tank.
I guess he keister stashed it, but I guess that's the point. It just appeared kind of like the One Ring, I reckon. And then it just started igniting like a lightsaber.
Yes.
And that looked strange, but I was like, okay.
The effect wasn't bad.
Then the kid got out, and then there was, I will say, I applaud them for trying a one-take shot. It was a long take.
Yes, and it wasn't necessarily good,
No.
but it was so interesting compared to how the rest of the show has been shot.
Right.
That it was interesting to watch.
We were following the ugly child through the village that was being ransacked by a bunch of absolutely they are just these dumbest orcs ever. They're just so stupid. Like, you don't check the well more than once. Like, person could not be underwater. Oh my lord. But yeah, he got out in a one take, in a one shot, but was saved by Arendir, the cool elf.
Yes.
We should stop calling him the black elf. He's the cool elf.
He's the cool black elf.
He's the cool black elf, and he is cool. But every fight he does is Slowmo.
Yes.
It's like, ow! Fuck!
The Lord of the Rings, directed by Zack Snyder. We're back to the Dwarf Kingdom, where no dwarf women have beards. The dwarf men, they're just kind of scrawny, and the dwarf women are fat. And I'm not saying that in terms of a beauty standards thing, I'm saying that dwarves as a people should mostly be muscly. You see Mithril in this, and the scene where you see it is actually pretty cool. I didn't mind it that much.
I like that scene. It was good. It was a good scene between Durin and Elrond. Very good character development on both of their parts in that scene. I enjoyed them. I actually saw a relationship that wasn't one-sided. And then they actually seemed like they cared about each other. Pretty good acting by both of them.
Galadriel is still just a horrid woman, a horrid, disobedient, just indignant woman, and nothing at all like how she was in the books. Galadriel was dignified and everything. Maybe the moral of the story is that, she finds Celeborn like she does in the books, and gets married, and maybe getting a husband tames down this indignant feminist spirit that she has. Be kind of based if they did that. They're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that. She seems like, in this show, the kind of character that would hide a zombie bite in a movie or a TV show.
Yes.
She would hide it until she turned into one and then killed somebody else she liked in the show.
Yep. Her and the Queen of Numenor keep talking about going off to join in this fight, but they, to their knowledge, have literally nothing to fight. They do not know about this small colony of orcs that is in the Southlands. The only people who know about that are the people in the village nearby and the elves who were posted in the station. So they have no word of orcs. It establishes in the first episode that there's not been any sort of odd sign of Sauron or anything like that. Galadriel is the only one paranoid. So, from a writing standpoint, them saying we're going to go off to fight makes no sense. It's pretty ignorant. Because there's not, from their point of view, any objective foe for them to go and do battle with.
Oh, the ugly child and the kooky old man had a talk about Sauron, and the first time they've ever said the word Sauron, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They did
or maybe
in the first
in the
episode.
exposition part.
Yes.
But anyway, that old man, kooky old man, who actually, in my opinion, pretty good actor. He's talking to the ugly child with the edgelord sword about Sauron, and he was saying, he's like, hey, you better get ready. And then, so there's that. How many rings of power out of 10 would you give this one, Carson?
Probably, in all honesty, with this character development and everything, episode 4 tied with episode 2. And we're halfway through the season now.
You think 4 and 2 are the same kind of episode?
Yes.
Really?
Absurdly boring.
I think that 4 is so much better than 2.
Maybe
So far,
can-
3 is my favorite episode.
Well, 3 is
I would
still
actually
my
be
favorite
like, hey,
episode.
watch this episode to some people. I would actually be like, hey, watch episode 3 to somebody if they're like, hey, how's that new Tolkien show? And I'm like, whoa, I gotta stop you there, friend. This is not Tolkien. This is Bezos. Also, bad CGI dog eating on a
Yes.
chicken leg.
Oh, that was terrible.
But anyway, thank y'all for watching. Subscribe, like, comment something you ate yesterday. I don't care. You don't even have to watch this show. We're watching it for you. What'd you eat?
I ate calamari.
Calamari? What the? Isn't that bald kid from that cartoon?